Welcome to the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, where it's all about helping your veterinary practice attract, engage, and retain clients. Broadcasting a new podcast every Monday from sunny Southern California, here's your host, Brandon Bashirs.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode number 179 of the Veterinary Marketing Podcast. So glad that you're here. Today is going to be all about new updates to Facebook's ads. Now, if you're listening to this in the future, I think this is still going to have a tremendous amount of value because we're going to talk a lot about their conversion budget optimization. We're going to talk about a lot of these automation tools that are built out inside of Facebook ads, who they're built for, what they're built for, how you can use them. It's going to be a great episode. You probably have noticed that Ads Manager looks different. It is changing constantly, and there's a bunch of new updates. So we're going to cover those updates. We're going to cover how to do automation. Should you use automation? Should you use CBO, which is conversion budget optimization? Should you use these tools that they're adding out? And I think this is actually really relevant to Google as well. And we're going to talk about Google's optimization strategies and just a bunch of stuff. So it's going to be a great episode. Before we get started, I wanted to mention a few things. First, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe in iTunes or Google Play. And please let me know if you have any questions. You can always go on over to the Veterinary Marketing Nerds Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/the Veterinary Marketing Nerds, and you can request to join, get help there as well. I'm also extremely excited because I have launched a course here for AdWords. If you're looking to up your AdWords games, specifically if you want to learn how to increase your dental clients in your practice. So if you love dentistry, you want more dental clients, this is a great course for you. If you head on over to veterinarymarketingpodcast.com/course, you can check it out. I'm really happy with how it turned out, but it's how to generate tons of dental clients in your veterinary practice with paid ads. So if you're wanting to take your destiny in your own hands instead of just hoping people walk through the door with specific services, if you're looking to increase your dental work, this is going to be a great course for you. I break down how to do ads for your dental practice and increase your dental practice. So be sure to check that out. I partnered with Dr. Brett Beckman. He does amazing dental courses on how to improve your clinical skills if you're a veterinarian or a tech. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's high quality. Check it out. If you're interested, head on over and buy it. I know that it'll bring ROI for your business. All right, so let's jump into today's episode. I think that there's just so much stuff coming out in the ad side. It's really exciting, but it is also a little bit complicated. And if you've noticed, and especially if you're using Business Manager, your Facebook Ads Manager format has changed. And a lot of times when new changes come out to the ad platforms, people don't like it, but I actually really like it. You just have to figure out where everything is now. So there's a new format. It seems to me like Facebook is really starting to kind of transition their ad sets and their campaign sets so that they look and feel more like Google Ads. And that's super strange to say because they're definitely different placements and things, but that's just how it is starting to feel. I also have seen that they've announced a beta update that they're going to be doing keyword placement, which is really odd, and I'm excited to see how it works. I saw somebody inside a Facebook group who does tons of ad spend, and so they got access to a keyword placement tool, which is just super interesting. As Facebook, figures out how they're going to be running and changing their platform, and as changes happen within Instagram and Facebook, it's just amazing to see what they're going to do. I think that Facebook is still leading the way in terms of creating ad product that is just cutting edge and unique. It's definitely the most sophisticated ad product out there, which is great for veterinary practices because you're going to be able to really tap into some good audiences. So that being said, let's talk about conversion budget optimization. I think that's one of the biggest key things that we need to talk about here today. Conversion budget optimization is now a setting that you may or may not have noticed. If you go into Ads Manager inside of Facebook, you may have noticed this. And what conversion budget optimization does is it will automatically spend your ad set to optimize for a specific conversion event based on the performance of the different ad sets that you have running. So let's say, for example, that you create a campaign. Under that campaign, you have 3 different ad sets. If you say we're going to spend $30 on that campaign with the 3 different ad sets, it would spend $10 on one ad set, $10 on the other ad set, and $10 on the last ad set. So conversion budget optimization will take the results that are coming out of those ad sets, and instead maybe it'll run $20 on ad set number 1, $2 on ad set number 2, and $8 on ad set number 3, depending on the cost per result. What it's going to do is help you to optimize what's going on automatically instead of just evenly spending that distribution. Now, a few things to note. First of all, that you have to be using conversion budget optimization with a conversion event. That means you need to have conversion pixels installed. If you're not familiar with what conversion pixels are or how those work, it is a piece of script that you put on your website, and it lets Facebook know when somebody reaches a certain page that a specific event has happened. So that is cool because you're able to track and measure the effectiveness of your ad sets with those conversion events and those conversion pixels. That is handled now inside of a tab called Events Manager inside of Facebook ads. But really what this does is it lets you use the machine learning and the budget optimization that they have in place. Now, I think that this is really beneficial. So let's talk about who this is potentially really beneficial for. You have to realize that Facebook's ad product is really sophisticated, and it is made for companies and brands that spend millions of dollars on ads across nationwide campaigns or across the globe, like maybe an airline, for example, or a massive hotel chain or Airbnb, or those kind of companies that are doing tremendous amounts of ads with really cool dynamic ad targeting and just amazing level of sophistication. And then we have local businesses like veterinary practice that is maybe boosting posts every once in a while or running ads. And so how do you create a product that is going to kind of match the level of service for each one of these businesses that are very dramatically different in terms of what they actually need and what they want from an ad platform? And so I think whenever you're taking a look at these kind of tools that are built to help automate things and make it very simple on the business to get things done at scale, you have to remember that this is at scale. And so, if you're spending $100,000 a day, it's very different than if you're spending $10 a day. So what that means for you and your veterinary practice is that I don't think that the CBO campaigns are necessarily going to be a huge game changer right away for veterinary practices, just because you're not spending enough money on Facebook. So that being said, I think it's really important that you don't run all of your ad sets with defaulted CBO. And so that's actually when you're going through the campaign, when you go to the objective, especially if you're doing website traffic, you'll see that it's a toggle there. And by default, it's checked that yes, you're going to do CBO. So if you haven't checked that off, that you're not going to do CBO, then by default, you have been running CBO campaigns. So if you've noticed a difference in performance, that may be causing it. But I just would suggest that, especially if you're unsure that it's going to be good for your practice, run a campaign without CBO, because if you run all of your campaigns, it'll automatically default that that's the only way that you can run campaigns in the future. So you have to actively run a campaign without CBO between now and February 2020, when they will make that the default. That all campaigns will have that unless you've opted out of it. So that's one thing that they're still testing this, and it's still being worked out. Now, they say that you need 50 conversion events per week in order to give Facebook's Pixel enough data to optimize your campaign. And that makes sense, right? It has to basically what Facebook is doing is gathering information about all of the people that are converting on your site and saying, here's what is, some of these common things about these people. We should show this ad based on this action, and this group of people who've converted, we should show it to this other group of people. And so it's really cool that Facebook does that, but a lot of practices just aren't giving Facebook enough data to make that decision and optimize your campaign. And so as a result, you're not going to get the benefit of checking this box and using this tool. So you have to give Facebook enough data points to do that. So that means you should be running ads. You should have your pixels placed on your site. And then Facebook has just released, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about today too was Facebook just released a new section inside of the ads platform. In their new revamp of the ads platform, they have a little button there. When you click on the ad sets, you can see, based on the conversion action that you're optimizing for, you can see if it's still learning or if it has completely learned what the objective is and who the target audience is. So that's pretty cool too. Back in the day, you weren't sure if you had enough pixel data to optimize your campaigns for the specific objective that you're running. So that's really, really cool. I think too that for most practices, if you are trying to figure out what you should be doing or who you should be targeting, if you do the work of figuring out what your client avatar is, what your objective is, what your conversion rate on your page is, and you go through and you do all of that work, then you're not going to have to rely so much on Facebook to do that optimization for you. So make sure that you are very clear on which audiences are performing the best for you and your business. So one of the cool things that I think is really helpful is that, let's say, and I've had this happen specifically for selling products online, is that if it's not working in terms of you're not giving Facebook's pixel enough data, it'll say the learning is limited based on budget, based on audience, based on cost control, other settings like that. And so it's helpful just to understand which ad sets, if you want to use this kind of optimization, which ad sets are going to work with this and which ones aren't. If they aren't working and it's not giving you enough data, then choose a different objective that's going to help to get enough data to give you the kind of quality that you want. So for example, landing page views is an optimization end goal that you can set up for. So if you want people to go to your website, landing page views is typically better traffic than clicks. Or if you want to get even more detailed, set appointment or complete registration or actually purchase if you're selling something online with a payment processor on there. So that's very, very helpful to get that kind of data. So that I think is just in general very important to understand, just because that's the new default for Facebook ads. And so if you've seen that CBO or conversion budget optimization tab and you're not sure what it is or what to do with it, that's what it is. So understanding that this tool works great at scale is important. And then if you're not able to run campaigns that are going to meet their benchmarks for enough data, then change your objective. And if that's not even a possibility, then just run to optimize for clicks and tell Facebook what to do. I think that's one thing that's very important too, is that you understand that you can still tell Facebook what to do, and you can tell Google and you can tell all of these ad platforms what to do. As time goes on, all of these automations are becoming more and more prevalent. And, especially for veterinary practices running Google ads, I'll see this all the time, that the ad reps will say, hey, you should add all of this, and you should add dynamic retargeting, and basically just give Google all of the data that you need. We're going to produce ads that are the best. That's not the case. I've seen it time and time again. I'll tell you, I had somebody that made changes last week based on recommendations a rep had made to the ad account without consulting me, and looked at it a week later, and it was 3 times the average cost per click on those ads that the rep told them to do versus what I had set up and was running before. So as much it is valuable to have these automation tools, it's very valuable to understand who your audience is, what they want, what they're looking for, and then how to craft ads that are going to respond to that. Ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. So these tools are there to help us, and if they don't help to produce better results for what we're actually doing, then it's not useful, because obviously you're going to get a poor result. So this is for anything that has automation. And I really see this as a trend that is only going to get more pervasive in ad spaces, just because this is kind of a cool selling point to say, hey, we have all of these tools that help you to optimize your ads automatically. Just put your website in and we'll figure out what ads to create, who to show them to, and what you're all about. And that sounds great in theory, and you may get some clicks and some results, but chances are you would do far better if you said, here's what I'm starting out with. I'm going to figure out who my target audience is. I'm going to find out where they're hanging out. I'm going to find out what kind of ad creative I can make that's going to interest these people. I'm going to create a great landing page experience for them. I'm going to give them easy ways to convert. And if you do all of that work, you're going to far outperform machine learning. I'm sure that at some point here in the future, there will be a time when Facebook and Google says, hey, we can send you clients and stuff. But until then, you still have to do the work to understand these basic concepts and use these basic principles when it comes to creating ads that are going to be effective, that are going to drive action and behavior. So that's something that I think is very, very important, and I don't think that's ever going to change. So let's talk about a few more tools that are new released for Facebook's Ads Manager. As I mentioned, the Ads Manager got a redesign, which is cool. I actually really like it. This redesign here is set up so that you run campaigns. The campaign is where the budget is set, the targeting is set. Underneath that, you have ad sets, which manage the placements, additional targeting options, and then you have the ads underneath the ad sets. So this is what's really starting to remind me a lot of Google Ads, because you have campaigns with ad sets and ads, and the way that they are managing budget inside of this is now really matching that. It seems like it used to just be a lot more ad set driven versus campaign driven, and now it just is a different kind of 3-tiered hierarchy of how you manage your campaigns and your budgets ongoing. So that being said, there's tons of new updates to ad reporting. You have simple statuses that say if the ads are running or not. You have the new learning unsuccessful status if you don't have enough data. You have additional custom metrics that you can add inside of your ad reporting columns. You have new ways to create and preview your ad creatives. And that's one thing too, is that they've changed the ad creative sizes for pictures. That's an update since September. So I think still across all platforms, the best results that I'm seeing are square images, but they're doing 4:5 ratio images as well. I'll be sure to link up all of the additional image sizes that they have now and that they suggest. But they also have a business asset section where you can see all of the creatives. You can create wireframes, and if you wanted to, I don't really see a benefit in that. So what they have is an ad creation creative tool that lets you preview what the creative would look like. I think just making that inside of Ads Manager as you're creating ads helps you to save time. Unless you have to get approval for your ads and things from owners or managers or people like that, it doesn't make sense to do that. But that tab and that tool is available. There's a projects tab where you can save all of your business assets under there. And I think it's just super helpful. It's going to be very interesting to see, especially through this holiday season, what ads cost you inside of Facebook and Google. And I'll definitely do updates for you inside the Facebook group, the Veterinary Marketing Nerds. So be sure to head on over there. If you have any questions about your ads, if you have questions about what some of this meant, the Facebook group is definitely a great place to go to ask questions. And I'm happy to help. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast episode. If there's anything that you would like me to create an episode about, I would love to know. I would love to help you. So just be sure to head on over to the group. That's, again, the best place to reach out to me. So I'll see you on the next week's episode. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.